In the words of Beverly Minchkins, conservatives say teaching sex education in public schools will promote promiscuity. With our education system, if we promote promiscuity the same way we promote math or science, they've got nothing to worry about. I know what you're thinking. Here we go again. Another viewpoint on sex education. That's exactly what I'm here to talk to you about. One of the less talked about topics in my society today is sexual education. What is it, and do we actually need it? Here's my point of view, plain and simple. Yes, we do. For years, there have been fights not only about funding, but also what exactly we should teach. However, due to the fights, not enough has been done to further this issue, about not only the education that the United States needs, but the one it deserves. Now, I'm not suggesting that you take your children and teach them everything right away. I am, however, suggesting that we take our middle school and high school students and teach them how to be responsible. I am suggesting that every student enrolled into a public institution should be required to take at least one class in middle school and one class in high school that teaches them about sex. The good, the bad, but most importantly, the truth. Throughout this talk, I hope to illustrate just exactly how important sexual education classes are needed in the public school systems, and how we must be willing to cast aside our differences in order to prepare our future generations. When it comes to the topic of sexual education, there are 2 points of view: abstinence only and comprehensive education. People who agree with the abstinence only education believe abstinence is the only moral option for our generations and that it will stop teenagers from having sexual relations. It is a viewpoint that is mainly based off of a religious preference, which is fine if your religion agrees. However, this country was founded off of religious freedom. Though abstinence-only education is very well intentioned, in the 21st century, it's also extremely unrealistic. In this method, they discuss not only the failures of contraceptives, they also discuss the immorality of pregnancy and the immorality of abortion. Ultimately, they are using fear tactics to keep teenagers to abstain from having sex. The Journal of Adolescent Medicine has proven this. When doing a study, abstinence-only programs have had a very low success rate. 88% of students who pledged to abstain when married reported having sex before they got married, therefore not keeping their purity promise. Unfortunately, for my generation, abstinence only is the most commonly taught sex education in the public school systems. There is, however, another option. It is called the comprehensive sexual education. This comprehensive method provides recent, medically backed information. They teach about contraceptives in all of their different forms, a variety of sexual related subjects, as well as the emotional complications. The comprehensive method teaches that abstinence is the only way to be 100% safe from HIVs, STDs, unplanned pregnancy, and the other risks taken when engaging into a sexual relationship. Looking at the two, I don't think it's hard to figure out which one our United States deserve. As we go on, year by year, our adolescents are engaging in sexual activities at a younger age, some now even in early middle school. The Sexuality Information Education of the United States states that 50% of high school students have engaged in sexual intercourse, and that has somehow become normal to be sexually active. If that's true, that means we can no longer hide behind our Bibles and pretend that sex isn't happening, because it is, and it's right under our noses. Sooner or later, our adolescents will get this education, whether or not it is that we provide it, simply from having friends who have been sexually active, or becoming sexually active themselves. The reality is that our adolescents are engaging in sexual activities whether or not we like it. The Sexuality Information and Education of the United States says all young people need, as well as deserve, the information, access, and skills to all services necessary to make and fulfill informed, responsible actions from their own decisions. But how can they make informed decisions if we deny them the information to make that decision? Many people who are for abstinence believe it is because of the comprehensive sex education that today's teen birth rate is so high. They believe that if we would have never taught our youth about contraceptives, then none of this would have happened. The United States right now holds the record for the highest teen birth rate, even as it falls to our own personal low. Today, in 2015, 26.6 out of every 1,000 teenagers between the ages of 15 and 19 are either becoming teenage mothers, having abortions, or miscarrying. Whichever way you look at it, that number isn't good. Just imagine with me for a moment. If this is the record that we have when 22 of our states have sexual education laws, imagine what could happen if we made it something that each and every student in every middle school and high school took in every single one of our states. Imagine the difference it could make. Now let's not be naive. We believe that all of this is happening because all of our youth are abstaining from sexual intercourse. Because if that were the truth, then the program teaching abstinence that the federal government spends $176 million per year on, so is told by the Christian Science Monitor, wouldn't have a zero success rate. This low is happening because of the use of contraceptives, condoms, and birth control. Something that every kid, every youth should know about. If all we ever hear is wait till you're older, who do we have to turn to when we really need answers? What good will come from keeping us in the dark about sex and sexuality in general? All this secrecy, all this dodging the question, is doing more hurt than good. We understand that you're trying to protect us, but what good does that supposed protection do if we can't turn to you when we need you more than ever? Please, stop this secrecy. Stop this being a taboo topic, and let's give us the education we need and deserve. I would love more than anything to see my children grow up in a society where, when they want to know about sex and what it actually is, they will feel confident enough to talk to me or a teacher if I'm not around. That, along with decreasing our pregnancy rate, could easily be the best thing that's ever happened to this country. Yes, abstinence is important, but it's also not working. So let's get with it and get it out of our system and try and help our next generation by giving them the comprehensive sexual education they deserve.